This episode is supported by FX's Grotesquerie, a new series from executive producer Ryan Murphy. Heinous crimes unsettle a small community, and the local detective feels these atrocities are eerily personal, as if someone or something is taunting her. Starring Niecy Nash-Betts, Courtney B. Vance, Leslie Manville, and Travis Kelce. FX's Grotesquerie premieres September 25th on FX. Stream on Hulu.
You're listening to Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve on the RiotCast Network, riotcast.com.
Here's a great way to help support RiotCast and Weird Medicine. If you're going to buy something online, look at Amazon.com. If you go to riotcast.com/weirdmedicine, follow and bookmark the link in the middle of the page. There's no cost to you, and it helps keep Weird Medicine on the air. Buy computers, electronics, movies, books, heck, even apparel and groceries. How about this? Holiday gifts, office equipment. So again, thanks for supporting the show and going to riotcast.com/weirdmedicine and following the link to Amazon.com before you shop. Bookmark it. And thank you to everyone who is using this link. We notice and we appreciate. Don't forget Gamefly. Gamefly offers an exclusive incentive for RiotCast listeners to try Gamefly.com for a free 15-day, 2-disc free trial, a $22.95 value. Gamefly is like Netflix for games and has over 8,000 video games for Wii, Xbox, PlayStation, and now your PC. I signed up and found they have some games for unlimited instant download. Just give it a try. If you like it, it'll continue automatically. If you don't like it, there's no penalty for canceling. Check them out at gamefly.com/fluid or go to riotcast.com/weirdmedicine and check on the Gamefly link. Lastly, check out Tweaked Audio. There's 7 styles and 7 colors of the best earbuds in the business. They're designed to sound great for music and talk. They're engineered for durability, and they have a noise-reducing design, and they're comfortable on the ear. You get free shipping and a lifetime limited warranty. Go to tweakedaudio.com and use the offer code FLUID for a 33% discount. That's like buying 3 for the price of 2 or buying 1 for the price of 2/3 of one.
It's hard, though, to tell if you are the problem sometimes, you know? Because, I mean, maybe I am just really the problem all the time. I don't know.
Let me be the first
Well,
to
when it
tell
comes
you.
to starting this show, I'm just kidding.
Hit it, Stevie.
Hit it, Stevie.
All right, here we go. It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of radio. Now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal Sam Roberts from the Opie and Anthony and Sam Roberts Show. Hello, Sam.
Seems condescending.
It is a little bit. I also have with me Mandy Stadtmiller from News Horror and Exo Jane. Welcome, Mandy.
Yeah, subscribe to News Horror. Bye.
Absolutely. Dan Naturman, the eloquent emetophobe, known to comedy fans both on land and sea. Hello, Dan.
How do you do?
I preloaded it by saying you're eloquent. But you and I have something in common. We are both emetophobes, and people don't understand it. They think that we're germ freaks.
No, that's not it all the case.
And
what's an emetophobe?
Okay, an emetophobe is someone who has an irrational fear of vomiting.
Well, maybe, no, it's perfectly rational.
Yeah, right. To other people,
I don't see it as irrational.
And, well, we'll get back to that. I still need to introduce our last person on the panel is Kristin Montella, the permanent distaff member of Live from the Table on RiotCast and SiriusXM. And Dr. Stacy was supposed to be here and she couldn't come. But Rob Sprance is the owner of RiotCast Network and host of the Glory Hole podcast. Hello, Kristin.
Hello.
And hello, Rob.
Hello. I'm just here for the prostate exam.
Okay.
Let's get it going.
Isn't it the whole podcast?
It's the whole now. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's
Oh,
the
I'm
whole.
sorry.
Yes, we're much classier now.
I just basically admitted I don't listen to your show.
That's
I guess.
okay.
I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. We can pull you off the site in 24
I
hours.
know. I understand.
It's an easy thing, easy quick fix.
Let me get the disclaimers out. This is a show for people who would never listen to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you have a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you just can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call, 347-766-4323. That's 347.
I didn't listen.
Poohead.
I don't listen either.
There you go. Let's visit our website at weirdmedicine.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy, or go to our new merchandise store at riotcast.com and click merchandise. Most importantly, We are not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on the show without talking it over with your doctor, nurse practitioner, physician's assistant, pharmacist, chiropractor, acupuncturist, yoga master, or whatever. So, Dan Naturman, you and I were talking just briefly about being an emetophobe, and I have my friends will tell me that, they say, oh, well, we know you're a germ freak. It's like, I'm not a germ freak. I just don't want to get foodborne illnesses.
Yeah, I'm happy with the flu.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything.
Give me an upper respiratory infection, I'm totally cool with it. But give me a gastroenteritis, and I'm just miserable. I live day to day in fear of getting, a puke bug.
I was going to say, who's not afraid of vomiting? Though?
That's what I've like.
I mean, there's nobody out there going, yes, maybe today's the day I vomit.
I wanted to vomit recently, and I couldn't.
Really?
I hate that.
Really?
See, that should be a fear.
Yeah.
Being afraid not to be able to vomit on cue.
Right. To be a bulimic emetophobe would be a real problem.
Perfect.
I dated a girl who said, I just hate throwing up, and I thought the same thing. Everybody.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody except for Mandy who's a throwing up fan.
I'm not a fan of it, but if you feel sick
And you want it.
that's all.
Yeah,
It's
get
terrible.
Get the poison
What
out.
is an irrational fear of vomiting?
Lately, I have no patience for anyone who's afraid of anything.
Yeah.
I just want people to just get over it,
Yep.
or
All fears.
be put in Iraq and realize what real fear is.
That's not a bad point.
I just think the world is just too precious, and I hate everyone.
Yeah.
Talking about you, Steve.
I know. I get that. Because what the example I was going to give you is that sometimes if sushi stays out a little bit too long, I will throw it away rather than eat it. So that's one of those kind of first world
Are you
Why
able
why
to
is
kill a spider, or do you at
Oh,
least
yeah. No, I have no
have
problem
a
with
female
that.
who can do it for you?
No, thank you.
He just doesn't want to ingest it and vomit it back up.
What is an irrational fear of vomiting versus a person who is just against vomiting?
Well, I think.
Anti-vomit.
If I can speak
Dan will
to that.
tell you, yes.
If I can speak to that. Well, first of all right, you don't like vomiting, but you can go about your day-to-day activities and not think about vomiting unless and until it comes up, literally and figuratively.
Right.
But me, barely a day goes by that I'm not worried that today is the day that I'm going to have an episode of food poisoning or norovirus or whatever it is.
Have you ever vomited?
Usually every few years I get an episode of some sort of episode.
And you do cruise ships, so that must be terrifying.
Well, but at least with a cruise ship, I know I'm not that. They probably have some shit on board to help you.
Yeah.
But you
on
don't
hand.
get to the point where you're like, I vomited before and survived to tell the tale. It's not that bad.
I get to the point where I vomited before and it was horrible. I can't do this again.
Oh, jeez.
Do you ever?
Would it help if you
Because
just,
it's not just one vomiting. It's usually a episode of
string.
gastroenteritis is 12 hours.
Right.
12 hours.
It'll be over.
What about is the fear of other people vomiting tied into this? Like my sister has
only
that.
insofar as they could give it to me if they have something.
Okay, so
Only
it's
as
not
it applies
like
to us.
The disgust of seeing it or whatever. Okay.
Have
I mean,
you
I'm a
ever-
doctor. I deal in puke every day,
Right,
but I don't want to get
You
it
don't want to have to
myself.
go through it. Got
And
it.
every day that goes by, Dan and I are the same in this. That's one day we're closer to getting a
The next
gastroenteritis.
episode.
Right, exactly.
Because I know that I get it at, say every 3 years.
Yeah.
On average.
Right.
Every day that goes by, I'm close to that 3-year mark.
Yep.
Wouldn't that kind of preclude you from being a doctor, though? I mean, the chances of you being exposed to someone that's sick are pretty high.
Yeah, that for some reason that doesn't matter to me. That doesn't bother me. In my clinical job, I can see people. I can do. I mean, and nothing grosses me out. We'll sit and eat lunch and talk about how we got a cup of pus out of somebody's back and it spewed across the room and stuff, and never stop eating. That kind of stuff doesn't make me sick. But it's just the idea.
It's the same for you? Like you spend your days thinking about the dread of having a bug for 12 hours?
Yeah.
It's like a life well
Here's
lived.
a question. Does the fear of vomiting ever become so paralyzing that you almost vomit?
No.
No, but it does become paralyzing that it's paralyzing.
So it stops you from eating? Or
why
No,
don't
it
you
just
do-
it has at times when I feel slightly nauseous and I think, oh my God, this
It's
is
coming.
This could be 12 hours of this shit. Then panic sets in. Yeah.
You lock yourself in your house.
And then I have to kind of calm down a little bit, or take a Klonopin, but
And if my kids
but
get
yeah, I don't think you can talk yourself into vomiting. I don't think.
Yeah. No, and if my kids get they say that their tummy feels a little bad. I'm grilling them. Do you feel like you're going to throw up? Do you feel like, because then I know if they get it, I'm getting it.
Is there something, Dr. Steve? By the way, what kind of doctor are you anyway?
Well, I'm dual certified in family medicine and also hospice and palliative medicine. So I do a lot of death and dying, and I deal with a lot of nausea and vomiting all the time.
Now, is there something that I could have on hand that I would know that if I have this something, that if the worst does happen, I do have a bout of gastroenteritis, I can take it and get relief? I've read about Zofran. Is that?
Yes, and that is now generic, so Zofran is pretty cheap. And it works pretty well at the first onset of nausea. You can take some, and it sometimes will help. Phenergan's a great drug, and if you're puking, you can't take a pill because you're just going to throw it up. So you would use a suppository, which is loads of fun. You keep them in your refrigerator.
You hate vomiting so much, you'll use a suppository.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you can just
That's
suck
a
on...
real phobia if you prefer to have something shoved up your
an
ass.
ice cold.
No, it's not. What's wrong with getting something shoved up your ass?
You could also
How
suck...
bad? It's not that bad to get something shoved up your ass.
It's
we're not talking
it's
about
not like a huge cock.
It's
of
not
medicine.
Well,
it's like a teeny little.
It's not a dildo of medicine.
I think if you use the different
Can
word
I
than
say
shove...
that? Did I just ruin your show?
No, you can say anything you want to say.
Okay.
Your
we're
boyfriend
totally
never put a
uncensored.
finger up there?
I'm saying as a man, I would think that's a little
stop it.
Well, it's ice cold too.
Yeah,
So,
that
because it comes
makes
out of the
you
refrigerator.
gay,
Oh,
right?
boy.
If you put a suppository.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing wrong.
Especially if it's
Doesn't make
shaped
you
like a
bad
man.
person.
Dr. Steve, so do you have these on hand?
I do.
And do you find that alleviates the anxiety?
What it does to a certain extent, yes. That I know that I've got something that I can do for it if it does happen. And as I've gotten older, it's become less and less. I've become a little more philosophical about it. My kids are going to get sick. I'm going to get it. Or what can I do about it? So I'm a bit of a recovering emetophobe.
That's what I was thinking. I would assume that you, of all people, would realize that the cure for this would be to not have irrational fears and notice they're irrational, not get medication.
It's the whole thing with irrational fears. They're not rational.
But you study this. You're a doctor.
Sure.
But again, I'm not that word irrational. I'm not sure I buy into because
he's at the point where he doesn't think it's irrational.
well, it is a horrible thing, and it does happen.
Yes.
It's not like it's not like fear of open spaces. Well, open spaces aren't going to inflict any pain on you.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Have you ever had a real problem?
Well, I would suggest that is a real problem.
There you go.
But I mean, have you ever faced actual adversity?
He's a comedian.
This sounds like an accusatory question, as if you're saying I've been coddled all my life and my mother still bathes me.
Does she? That's what I'm asking.
No, she doesn't.
Darn it.
Well, adversity, but you don't consider anything mental adverse, so I guess not. I guess my life is just happy as Candyland.
I do, but I'm saying, so, don't you think that everything is a matter of framing and perspective? And I'm saying, if you were suddenly a quadriplegic, would you really be obsessing over this fucking vomit thing?
Yeah, had you
I would
clean it
be
up,
obsessing about the vomit thing, yeah, and it would suck to be quadriplegic.
Right. And it would be even worse.
You'd be a vomiting quadriplegic.
That would have to be, that would be insanely
It
horrible.
would be even worse, because how do you get to the toilet fast enough?
Yeah, that would be... That would be pretty horrendous.
Wait, I have a question about the medicine. So that keeps you from vomiting?
No, not really.
Okay.
It will relieve it to a certain extent, and the thing about the Phenergan suppositories is they make you really sleepy, so you just sleep through it. Now, you won't sleep. It won't knock you out to the point where you will do a mama cass and aspirate. You'll always wake up to puke, but at least you can sleep through the nausea, because that's the worst part. The puking is...
Right. The nausea is the worst.
Is 15 seconds out of an hour, but it's the nausea that you just have to sit there.
I would assume that if you have to throw up, you should probably get that out of your body. Like, you shouldn't try to.
Yeah. So you could never have
Yeah.
kids, Dan. I mean, I guess I've babysat my whole life, so I've dealt with so much vomit over the years.
Yeah.
And
Well, I don't know. Did having kids make you more likely to have these episodes?
Yeah, sure, because they go out into the real world, get exposed to these viruses, and then they bring them back home.
I suppose I could be a baby's daddy.
My kids brought us...
Or I could be a sperm donor.
what I'm
but if I
trying
have
to tell
hang
you
out
is
with
that I'm
these-
pregnant, Dan.
Well, like I said, I'll send checks.
My kids brought Norwalk virus into our house, and they brought rotavirus into our house, and we were all, they were in the hospital. Here I've got this kid, this 1-year-old kid in a diaper, and he's got Norwalk virus, so he's puking and shitting. And then he gave it to me, and I'm in the hospital because my wife is home sick. She picked one of the kids up, and the kid puked on her, and then she turned and puked on him, and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with
It
this?
sounds like that story in Tucker Max's I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. That's like, I think, a made-up story because Opie and Anthony exposed it, but about how he was trying to have like anal sex with his girlfriend and videotape
then she
it.
Shit, and then my friend fell out of the closet because he was throwing up and I was throwing up.
And everyone's shitting and throwing up.
Yeah. This is a true story.
Your story did happen.
Absolutely did happen. And I'm cradling him in the hospital, and he's got all these IVs. And all of a sudden, I hear this noise. And they had cut a hole in his diaper so that they could put a little bag around his penis so that he could urinate in it so they could see if he had a urinary tract infection. Well, there's a hole in the diaper. And this noise is a gallon of liquid shit coming out of the diaper all over my legs. And
I suddenly have a fear of vomiting.
picking him up, and this stuff is just pouring out of him.
Yeah.
And they came in to clean the room up, and there was no getting the smell out of there. The guy just came in and brought a little air freshener and hung it in the room.
What about immersion therapy, where you're just surrounded by shit and puke?
Yeah,
just exposing. I was at a party recently,
or like eating your own puke.
Mandy's missing the point. It's not the puke itself; it's us puking.
Right.
If you puke, I mean, I would smell bad, but whatever.
Yeah, but that would make you want to puke, right? My cat pukes. I go to clean up my cat's puke, and I start to gag.
It's getting the virus or the food poisoning. It's the foodborne illness.
So maybe
that got
it affects you more than it affects me, because I mean, it sucks, but I don't think of it as being.
And there's also something to when it's happening.
The worst thing ever.
When it's happening, it is horrible. Like when you have those 12-hour things where like you have to puke every half hour, and you're just sitting by the toilet wishing you would throw up, and you can't throw up. But then once you're done with it, you're like, okay, I survived.
Yeah.
Right.
And now I'm ready to move forward with my life.
Right.
Sure.
Now it's Tuesday.
Well, maybe the bigger problem is I don't have anything else with my life to look forward to.
That's what I was saying. I was saying about
the vomiting of the stage.
I have to, if I knew that after the vomiting something good would happen, I guess it would help me.
I think I have a
That's the most
version of this,
impactful moment.
though, because I have, like, a fear of nausea. Not the vomiting part, but, like...
Yeah, I get nausea easily. I drink ginger ale all the time.
I had vertigo once, and it was, like,
Worst.
I wanted to put a bullet in my head.
Yep.
I've never contemplated suicide in my entire life.
Yep.
I had vertigo for 48 hours, and I thought, like, I was going to jump out a window.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about
that, to me, that's crippling. Like, that feeling of, like, not so much, I wish if I would have been able to throw up and it would have gone away, I would have thrown up for 6 hours straight and had no problem.
Do you know what caused
But
it?
that... No, it's
As a
like
virus.
viral, yeah.
It's called viral labyrinthitis, and the virus actually gets into the nerves that send head position signals to the brain, and it just starts firing them off like crazy. And so the brain is receiving these signals and saying, well, the Earth must be moving. And so you get this feeling of vertigo, and it's just like it's the same nausea you get when you're seasick.
How did you get vertigo?
It's viral. You just catch it like you
Yeah.
get
Oh,
like
really?
Bell's palsy or like your.
And
immune system
it's interesting because some bugs that are a virus that might cause a puke bug in you might cause labyrinthitis in me. And
I haven't puked in a while.
yeah, I haven't either.
But now I have this fear.
My dog
like,
pukes, though.
Yeah, my cat pukes all the time.
Yeah, my cat.
My dog puked on my face.
Wow.
Nice.
But now I have this fear every time I start to feel like dizzy. I'm like, oh god, I'm getting vertigo again, and then I get a panic attack because I think
there you
that I'm
go.
getting vertigo.
See, so it's not so crazy.
it's, I guess you know.
You have
Mandy, do you dismiss that as a not a real problem?
No, I think it's a real problem. I just hate everyone in the world. So I just want to say the meanest, cruelest things to everyone, including you. And I figure it'll make for good radio. So
How's that working out for you? So
Did you not feel your dog gagging, or why
it was
wouldn't
just
you
like
move
I
your
was
face
I
from
was
its mouth?
I was asleep.
And
then
he
I
just
was
walked
like,
up to you and puked on your face?
well, what do dogs
Get
do?
a different
He
dog.
was sleeping. Did you say get a different dog?
Yeah.
No, he's sweet. I love him. He's like
not.
a kid.
He
He's
came-
not sweet because he did that?
Yes.
He's
No,
a dog. He doesn't understand
He
that.
came to her like, "Mommy, mommy, I'm going to be
Yeah,
sick."
he didn't
On your
feel good.
face.
He's standing over her, and then
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that maybe mommy if he did it next to her.
Well, he can't talk English, so he didn't say "mommy, mommy."
but the
Thank you
sentiment
for
would
explaining
be
that.
there. if he had done it next to her. But when you puke on somebody's
I like that
face,
you're trying to give back to me what I was giving to Dan.
No matter what
you're like, your dog
species you
sucks.
are. Yeah.
Kill it.
Yeah. Your dog is way worse than Dan.
Right. Your dog has repressed rage.
Yeah.
I would put down Dan. I would put Dan to sleep sooner than I would put my dog to sleep.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Just kidding, Dan. I wouldn't do that.
Dan,
at all.
I would adopt you before that happened. I would come and I'd post you on
rescue
Facebook
you.
so everybody would come and to save you.
We'd get
Poor
Sarah
Dan.
Don't
McLachlan
worry.
to sing a song about you.
Yes.
Well, have we eaten up the emetophobia? I think we probably have. I have a study here this is why I called all of us together, because for various reasons, this particular topic struck me that you all would have some interest in this. And there's this study they did, 88 college friend couples. And they found, after interviewing them, that men were much more attracted to their female friends than vice versa. And men were much more likely than women to think that their opposite-sex friends were attracted to them. And men's estimates of how attractive they were to their female friends had virtually nothing to do with how these women actually felt. And men were more likely to see sex and romantic potential in an opposite-sex friend as a benefit, and women primarily saw it as a cost.
You just summed up the first 40 years of my life.
Is that
I was
right?
going to say this needed to be a study.
Well, it's certainly not surprising that men want to have sex with their female friends. What I guess is somewhat surprising to me is that they feel that the feeling is mutual in many cases.
Right. No, right. And once again, you and I have this in common, because I've heard you talk about this, that you have very often been put in the role of being the male friend. Am I right about that?
No, I don't believe I have said that.
You have you not? Maybe
No.
Maybe it was
Dan is
Noah.
one of
You've
these
just
men who
you've
thinks
just
the feeling's
assumed
mutual.
that. You've sort of assumed that based on
maybe
on who I am, I suppose.
Okay, I thought I heard you to say that. Well, okay, I may be wrong. Well,
No, I actually no. I mean, I like every man on earth that's happened, of course.
yeah.
You know,
Over
but
and
I
over
don't,
and over and over and over and over again.
But I don't think it necessarily happens to me more than the average.
Okay.
I think it's the opposite for me. I think I want to fuck everyone, and men are afraid that I will consume them like a sexual spider, and they'll be left to die.
Where would they get that idea from?
Well, Mr. Roberts, expand on that. a
Looking
little
very
bit.
fly-like tonight.
Do you see a pattern in your life where you are attracted to men and they run away from you?
Not really.
Okay, then can you explain that, because I didn't understand it then. You don't have to.
I don't know. I think Rob could explain it better.
Oh, okay.
Why can I explain it better?
I think
You're
Dan.
one of the men.
I think Dan could. No, I don't want to fuck him.
Well, thank you, man.
Well,
Well, you're married. Married people are dead to me.
Good.
They're just like walking corpses.
Can you flirt with a married man? Is it okay for married men to flirt with you?
Of course I can. I fucked with a married man.
Okay. All
Fucked
right.
with?
Fucked with, yeah.
So,
Married.
Oh boy.
so you're a necrophiliac then, since you consider them
Because they're dead to you.
No, I mean I just did it one time, and then
Okay.
I talked about it on Rob's podcast.
That's right.
Oh, you
she
did?
It was
Okay.
awful. I was
Yeah.
a really bad person. I mean, really awful.
Do you? Okay. There's so
I
many
just
questions
think I
here.
just think that I give off more sexual energy than men are comfortable with, because they like to be the domineering, trapping the prey or whatever. And I think I'm supposed to be like, sex? Ew. And then the guy is just like, yeah, suck it. And I'm like, I don't want to. And then you give head and they're just like, yeah, suck it. You know what I mean?
But every
Like,
guy will
that's-
say.
Simple interactions.
Every guy.
Sam's Tuesday.
Every guy will say, "I want a woman to come on to me." Why do we have to do all the work?
Whatever.
And that's not
yeah, but
your
then
experience.
well, I mean, I guess, sure, you can come on to guys, but then those guys are the guys who are like walking around living in fear of like puking or some shit. You know what I mean? Like,
And I don't
Diana.
think guys want women to like come on to them the way they come on to women. I think guys want
Yeah.
women to like fawn over
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
and
yeah.
just
I feel like
you.
I know all these games that I should play, but I would rather be just like a bitter spinster than do all that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Like, and I don't know. I mean, and also I think that I'm cute enough that it's not. I mean, I think I have a lot of great things going for me, but I think I'm just way more intense than most guys like. And I also like am really, really quick with everything.
Yeah.
And guys read that as, I think guys read that the wrong way, where it's more just like, I think I live in an industry and a world where I have to make a lot of decisions really quickly.
Right.
And I'm the same way with my personal life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah, that could be intimidating to some guys, although I would think in a city of 8 million people, you wouldn't have problem finding 2 or 3 that you would have, an amenable relationship with in that way.
Yeah, well, and then now my dog cock blocks me because, like, Rob, my dog doesn't like Rob. My dog was like ready to like rip Rob's face
I
off.
went to go set up her equipment, and
He loves Graham, my co-host.
Yeah.
He bit my hand off.
Really sounds like a
I had it
sweetheart, this
sewed
dog of
back
yours.
on.
Puking, biting.
I mean, he is. He's just. I mean, I know.
He was a dick. He was a dick to me.
He was a total
dick.
He was a total dick.
He was a dick.
But he's just like a fucked up rescue pit bull. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a pit bull.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention
him.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like,
Kristin,
give him the treat. And I went to give him the treat, and I came back with
almost
one
like,
less finger.
That's not true.
That was the treat.
He was close. He was close.
do you think men and women can be friends? I don't know.
Yeah,
truly platonic level.
Oh, I didn't answer that. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I mean,
So the question hadn't been posed until now.
Right, I'm just proposing that now.
I think they can be. I mean, there's always going to be one will probably always have, not turn down sex from the other. But I think I certainly have a lot of male friends. Not to say that none of them have ever thought about sleeping with me, but
Well, we know that women can have male friends.
Yeah.
I think we're all pretty much in accord there.
But then
The question is, can men have women friends?
By that reasoning, men can have women friends.
I believe that they can,
Yeah.
but I think it's less common. I think, as the study showed, men are more likely to want to have sex with their female friends than the contrary.
Yeah, and they even said that men were
but we didn't need a study, by the way, for that.
Right.
But anyway.
Exactly.
Well, they just got some statistics.
But
They said-
I do
Did that
have.
study also show that sometimes men like to ejaculate onto women's faces and tits.
well,
'Cause that needs to be studied in
yes,
depth.
they actually said that men were more likely than women to say they had sex with an opposite sex friend. It
Oh,
was
wow.
22 to 11, so it was 2 times more men said that they were having sex with their female friends than the women. So either the women weren't admitting it or the dudes are just making shit up.
But I think that's also like women are bitches, and I will know, I'm one of them. Sometimes I can be nice too, but
Say it's not so.
no, but women will. You have a male friend,
You think
and
you
you have him there for a certain reason, whatever your reason is. And women can be sweet and they can be flirtatious. If a guy is friends with you and he doesn't want to sleep with you, you know it.
Yeah.
It's very clear. Like guys are not. Oh,
That's
I
not
want
true.
this.
There's hate sex.
All right, I'm talking about like normal functioning.
Yeah,
people.
normal people, not
like
not back at
like,
CBGB's.
not bitter, like want to kill everyone. But girls, you're like, oh, this guy has a car and he can like take me to Woodbury Commons on the weekend.
Yep.
So I'm gonna, go to lunch with him.
You
And then
sound
there's a
very
guy,
manipulative and awful. I'm not like that. I like people for their souls and their spirits.
But you can be friends with somebody and want to have sex with them,
and have it.
even if they won't have sex
Right.
with you. You can
Yeah.
still like
that's
that can't
that's
be.
a tricky one.
But it can't like
That's
Dan's
tricky
tried
one, boy.
many times.
unless you're fully consumed in I only want to like if you're only friends with a person because you want to have sex with them, that's one
I
thing.
suppose if you could take it or leave it, then that can be done. I certainly have female friends that I have no sexual interest in.
Yes.
And I mean no sexual interest in.
Those are my best female friends.
Now
Because they're just ugly or they're awful sexual spiders like me?
No, I would say that I'd hate to mention names, but Rachel Feinstein's not ugly in any way, shape, or form. The comedian Rachel
Right,
Feinstein, we're
sure.
all familiar with her.
course.
And I don't have.
I'm sure she'll love
Well, we've
this.
had this discussion before that I don't have really. I mean, yeah, no, I know this sounds insulting, and maybe
How old is she? I'm curious.
she's about 32, I think.
Oh yeah, she'll love this. Yeah.
But she feels the same way. I suspect it's just because it's probably because she's. Her and I are sort of turned off by each other's Jewishness on some level. It's too familiar. It's almost incestuous in a way. So I don't know. But
how often do you masturbate about your different female friends?
Well, none, because they're my friends, and so I don't have sexual interest in them. Now I do have some sort of friends.
Let's leave me out of this.
Come on,
please.
Well,
without mentioning,
It's a long ride to Woodbury Commons.
So what
I've
is-
never masturbated. I've never masturbated in thinking about Kristin.
Oh.
I've had sexual dreams about Kristin.
What did she do in the dream?
Well,
specifically?
in the dream we were at the Comedy Cellar trying to find a place to have sex, and then we ran upstairs. We couldn't find a place because it was crowded, as you know. At nighttime it gets crowded. What with the bar crowd and all coming in for hummus and kebabs, so we had to go upstairs and up to I believe this room, in fact, or we're upstairs right now from the Comedy Cellar for the listeners, and Kristin, I finally think here's our chance, and we're going to make it. And then Esty comes
Before
out.
the roofie wears off.
That's a very detailed dream.
And then Esty, the man.
And then the next week,
He just swept away the microphones. With
Well, you're
his
missing the
left arm.
punchline. Esty, the manager, the Israeli manager, comes out and says, "What are you two doing up here?" So she ruined the whole thing. But that was
she
my.
didn't get in on the.
And then for a couple of weeks, when you have a sex dream about somebody, all of a sudden somebody you. That's no secret. I make no secret that I find Kristin a vibrant woman, attractive woman. But it was not until after that dream that when you ever have a dream about somebody, and then you say, "Whoa!" Hey, all of a sudden, my level of interest is now up, fivefold.
Because you saw her naked in the dream.
Yeah, because we had a thing in the dream,
Right.
even though we never did nothing in the dream.
Well, it's just like
because of
when
Esty.
you have an argument with somebody in a dream, you wake up
You-
pissed off at them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they didn't do
It's true.
anything.
He woke up pissed off at Esty for ruining.
Pissed at Esty, but in love with Kristin. But I'm happy
sweet.
to say that that's worn off sufficiently that we can have a working relationship.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Now.
Did you used to just have like a perma boner around her?
Not a perma, but no, I don't do that. But Kristin is, in getting back to your point earlier, Kristin is a bitch, and that turns me on some level. It's her.
Well, you two have been friends for a long time.
Well, I don't know that we're friends. We see each other when we
Would
see
you
each
ever
other.
give him like a friendly hand job,
I never-
as friends do?
Now you're.
I mean, if it was like if he was gonna vomit, and like the only thing that could keep him from vomiting was
That's a
me
good
like
line. You
giving
should
him
use
a
that
good
with
hand
women.
job.
You know what?
Beautiful.
I'll take it.
the two of you will be vomiting at the same time while she's giving you a hand.
I don't know that Chris and I are friends because we don't talk on the phone and we don't see each other outside of this context.
Yes, we
Okay.
do.
I don't call you up and say, "What, Chris? What's up, girl?"
No. But I'm saying we've seen each other at events.
At events, but it's not
beer
like-
gardens, stuff like that.
Yeah, because we happen to be there, but
Sounds
not
like you
because
have
I
a very strong
not because I
acquaintance
call you
Yeah.
up and say, "Yo,
No.
girl, you going to the beer garden?"
If
Right,
you
right.
raped her, it would be acquaintance rape. That's your relationship.
I'm not going to touch that, but I suppose so.
Any dreams?
Yeah, we're an acquaintance. I guess. Acquaintance.
Acquaintance
Nah.
dream.
So, Kristin, no sex dreams about me? Is that?
No.
Oh dear.
Speaking
I
of,
had one
Forget,
about
we
you the
forget
other day.
most of the dreams we have. We don't remember.
Yeah.
Right.
And that one I would have definitely blocked out. Anyway, so.
just dramatically. I have you, speaking of sex dreams, do you guys ever go to completion in a sex dream? If I ever have a sex dream, something always like Esty coming in and interrupting, something always happens that stops the process from happening. So I never actually get to have dream sex ever.
I have dream sex. I must say it's not very satisfying.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying you don't
Because
get
it's
to
not
finish.
real sex.
Yeah, I don't even know that I've ever achieved insertion in a dream, now that I think about it.
I have
I
achieved
get ready to, and
when
then
you
the dream
put it
ends.
that way, it sounds so dirty.
Yeah,
I've
it is.
achieved
Jesus.
insertion, but it's insertion. It's not real insertion, so it's not very. It doesn't feel very good.
Wait,
Right,
can
right,
I ask
right.
a question related to
Achieve
this?
insertion.
Yeah, of course.
You know how guys have like wet dreams?
Yes.
Teenagers.
Can girls have those?
Of course.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. And the reason men have it is if they don't ejaculate for a long enough period of time, then the body senses a need to kind of clean out the pipes, and so they'll have an ejaculation. Now, I'm not sure that would be the case with women, but I had known women that have had orgasms in their sleep.
Without like any kind of...
I wasn't talking about orgasm. I was talking about just like waking up and being like...
Oh, no, I'm talking about
on.
actual like orgasming.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Oh, wake up turned on, absolutely.
Oh,
Well, how do you know?
wake up with a boner?
Yeah.
But she's talking about...
I'm talking about as a woman waking up like moist.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about actually,
But she's talking
like,
about having an orgasm.
You've
so
done that? That's happened to you?
No, that's why I was just curious.
The
like,
one time it
happens to
did,
guys.
it was Dan Naturman. Dan Naturman.
There's got to be more
He was
to...
dreaming and I
He'll
woke
take
up.
it.
I was dreaming about it. It was like, it was, what's the
If-
I was just going to say, what was that?
What's
Is it
the
a
movie? Incognito, Memento.
Memento.
No.
No.
What's the movie where it's the dream in the dream?
Inception.
Oh,
There
Inception.
you go.
Inception.
Thank you.
There's got to be more to coming in your sleep than just cleaning out the pipes. Because I'm still good for coming in my sleep like probably twice a year.
You come in
Really?
your sleep?
Ah, for the love
Cleaning
of God.
out the pipes
And-
sounds very.
Oh, come
And
on.
I don't like that term.
The craziest thing,
Cleaning out the pipes.
I did once.
hell?
I had sex.
Yes.
I fell asleep. I came again in my sleep.
That's very strange.
And I don't even have sex twice in one night ever.
Yeah.
I'm not good like that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a medical question?
Of course.
Okay, so the last guy
Dude, I don't know.
that I had,
That's what the show is about.
the last guy that I had sex with, he was telling me that it hurts to have blue balls.
Yes.
Is that really true?
Yeah. Here's what happens when you
Because I
get...
kind of felt bad, so I think maybe that's why I had sex with him.
Well, sometimes
Well, he's manipulating
That-
you as well.
that
but
was a
there's
manipulation.
a middle ground there.
it does hurt, but he could have taken care of it later himself.
Right.
You know,
Right?
it doesn't hurt
Yeah.
that bad. It's
What does it feel like?
It's prostatic congestion. So the prostate is a gland that is between the bladder and the penis, and it's right at the outflow of the bladder. And when you get sexually aroused, the body will start pumping signals to the prostate to, hey, get ready, you're going to jizz. And when it does that, there will be secretion of fluid into the prostate that will cause it to expand. And it's called prostatic congestion, and that gives you the sensation of blue balls, and it's kind of a pain in your taint.
You should be a phone sex operator.
Thank you.
That was like,
did
I'm
that
so
turn you on?
wet right now. Yeah.
She's gonna wake up more.
I have
No.
this way of
But to get doesn't that? I mean, I've never had
Talking
that.
sexy on
Doesn't that require a lot of self-denial to get to that point?
yeah, and you'll hear more young guys doing it who are just full of jizz.
What
and,
about Woody Harrelson and all those people who do the edging kind of,
Right.
or, so they're in pain all the time. Yes, sting.
Not necessarily.
All those people.
You don't have to be in pain. You'll hear about this in teenagers a lot who are dry humping their girlfriends.
Yeah.
And they're not, because they're teenagers, if they're not masturbating, they're probably not, at that point, having a lot of sex. So they're doing a lot of things that are like edging, and they're full of fluid. And, teenage boys could jerk off 3 times a day without any problem at all. And for those are the guys you hear about that. You don't hear 58-year-old men like me complain, "Oh God, I've got a raging case of blue balls." It just doesn't happen.
Can I
We're
ask
lucky
you a
if we have
personal
a
question?
raging case of balls. Yes.
How many times a day / week do you masturbate?
It varies. And I'm a very honest show, so I'll tell you a very honest answer. It varies. Sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week, and then sometimes I'll go a couple times, a couple weeks without, where I'm just sort of storing it up for a good one.
I'd kill someone.
But you do that consciously? Like
Yeah.
you're like, I'm going to wait a couple weeks and then really have good for you.
Can you take a
And this is-
supplement to have like a big load of cum?
That's a great question. I get that question
thank
on the
you
show
so
all
much.
the time. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you for asking it.
Thanks.
The only study that's ever shown to increase seminal volume was people taking daily Viagra. And now we use Viagra for people who have this thing called pulmonary hypertension, which is a high blood pressure going from the heart to the lungs. And if you give them Viagra, it gets better. And it's a
like gay kids who are getting bullied.
It gets better. I'm there.
Oh, it gets better.
No, I still don't get it. So anyway, and those people have about a 20% increase in their seminal volume. So I haven't been able to find a single study that shows anything that actually works to increase loads. And these guys who are in porn,
Is there a technical term for a load? A load, the unit that is a
just
unit.
ejaculate.
I think load.
But you couldn't say one ejaculate. I can say I blew one load.
Oh, I
You
see.
can't say I blew one ejaculate.
I blew 5 mLs of semen.
But that it still doesn't.
But you also
it's
wouldn't
still
say
not
the
a
word
load.
blue.
You wouldn't
in
say
that,
blue.
if
So
you were
is there a
being-
scientific way to say this? Is my question to you, and you don't have an answer for me.
I don't
it
have an
would
answer
seem.
on that.
A rainfall of
Yeah.
creamy.
You know, it's a
Ropey,
unit of
ropey is the
measurement
word
that varies.
ropey.
Varies.
It's just ejaculate.
I do like that we've
But
reached.
I understand that you can't use it in the way that you're trying to use it in a sentence.
We've
You can
reached-
have an orgasm.
Let
This
Sam
patient's-
talk.
This patient's
He has something funny to say.
this patient's
Well, not
ejaculate
anymore.
was 5 ml. You would say that.
But we've reached the spectrum of Dr. Steve, where either he spends his days worried about vomiting or excited about the load that he's building up. One of these two things are going to happen.
That's
This
probably
is
why
the
he's
yin and
vomiting.
yang.
It's just coming up the other way.
Isn't that the plot of Last Vegas?
Morgan Freeman, specifically.
Yeah, fuck you. So there is. I've seen these porn films where these guys will just ejaculate what appear to be cups and cups of
Ugh.
semen.
Disgusting.
That's some of that Chris Angel camera tricks.
I think
It is a camera trick. Lexi Love was on my show and she said that there is some kind of what they do is in addition to the ejaculate, it's some kind of mixture that they use. And she said what it was, and I can't remember.
she
I wish I
told me
could.
just the opposite on my show.
See, you gotta.
What?
She said that there's a way that what they do is they mix it, and like they'll kind of just squirt it in addition to the real deal.
Okay,
Like
'cause
they'll have it, and I'll have to go back and listen.
my theory
I'll call
was
you with it.
that some of it looks really thin. When you see these guys just ejaculating gallons of cum, and
Gallons.
Oh,
What
it's
kind of porn are you watching?
I've seen people send me stuff, and they're like, "How do you explain this, doctor?" And
That was a good save.
it looks very. Thank you. It looks very thin, and I think what these people are doing is they're learning.
It's his patients sending him these
Send
videos.
those emails.
Come take a look at this video, doctor. I don't understand. I'm not feeling well.
Thanks for the palliative care. Would you check out this hardcore bukkake?
Check out my load.
Here's a horse film, and thank you for the prescription.
I'm worried about this bukkake actor.
My theory is that they're learning to urinate at the same time they're ejaculating, because normally when you ejaculate, there's a little sphincter in there that closes off the bladder, so you can't
You just
pee
did the
and come at the
shocker
same
with your
time.
finger. Just put the shocker on.
And I think some of these guys have trained themselves to urinate at the same time, so they're actually mixing semen and urine at the same time, and it comes out looking like a bigger
Wait,
load. That's my theory. But
Oh my God.
Going back to your other point about prescribing Viagra for pulmonary
pulmonary
for
hypertension.
hypertension.
Yes.
So these people then are also erect.
They can
Wow,
be.
they-
Now, the thing about Viagra is it doesn't cause an erection most of the time. It just gives you the potential for one if you're stimulated. So, yes, they would have the benefit of not having erectile dysfunction when they're taking Viagra 3 times a day.
Have you ever taken Viagra?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the great thing about Viagra when you don't need it, and I'll just throw that out there. But if you don't need
Nice. That was hot.
it makes it
got a
makes an
little moist.
erection like. And I've heard a comic say this. This isn't my line, but it's like a ballpark Frank in the microwave. It's just all big and straining at its
Oh my God.
at its confinement.
It's
and it's
plump
kind of,
when you cook it.
Exactly.
Is it true that women can take it?
Yes.
For, like,
Yeah, I saw that
enhanced
episode
sexual
of Sex in the
experience?
City too.
It's true though.
That was a good episode.
We a lot of the sex therapists will, if a woman has a problem with lack of pleasure from stimulation of the genitals, that they'll give her some Viagra just to increase blood flow to the vulva and stuff. And as you know, I haven't seen a good double-blind placebo-controlled study. There may be some out there, but a lot of people believe that it really does help. We have
You want
friends.
to down some Viagra, Kristen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go hit
You
up
look
some
like you're in the mood.
doctors.
We have
Yeah,
friends that
couple.
take Ambien and call
Tiger
it.
Woods, ambient sex. Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't hear
yeah.
about him
Tiger
say
Woods
that.
was very into ambient sex. Yeah.
They call it big
With
sex
me
night.
at least. I don't know if it was with every girl, but yeah.
Well, they call it big sex night. They both take an Ambien, and then they have intercourse, and it's supposed to increase their pleasure. But the problem with it was with these two, was the woman woke up one night at 2 a.m. and her husband was outside on a ladder on the second floor washing windows at 2 a.m.
Oh,
Didn't know
that's
where the hell he
crazy.
was.
With his
Wow.
erect penis the whole time? No.
Is that how he was watching the
He was.
Maybe I'll pass on that.
He learned it.
Why?
Yeah.
Isn't
It
ambi-
makes you sleepwalk.
Yeah, it can.
Oh.
Some people it will. There are people who have been found driving naked 10, 20 miles from home. My wife would get up at 2 a.m. and wake the kids up and play hide and seek with them and not remember any of it the next day.
Oh, shit.
What?
Stuff like that. Yeah.
I need some of that.
How come
Get me some of that.
That is the stuff of horror movies.
and it's a minority of people, but when it starts happening, the psychiatrists say it will not stop. It only gets worse.
Has there been a Law and Order SVU episode where someone killed or
Yes.
raped someone on Ambien?
I wouldn't be surprised.
There has been a sleepwalk.
I saw
rapist.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a condition, though. He had a condition.
They
that
always
was
have
like
conditions.
sex sleep omnia or something. Yeah.
Sex sleep omnia.
Yeah, I guess we probably retired this thing. Anybody else have anything to say about men and women being friends?
I want
think-
to get feedback as to how I can be less of a horrible person so
Yeah,
that
look-
I can find a boyfriend.
You don't need that. You know what?
No, Rob is edging to tell me something. Like edging. Like he's
You've
about
got,
to
you've
go.
got,
No,
you've
he's
got a
edging.
You got a, hold on, wait. Okay, just finished. You have a long way to go.
We all
So
have
mean.
to. We
So
all have to
mean.
find people that we're just compatible with, and that do you want to change your fundamental being just so that some dude will like you? That's bullshit.
Well, no, but I mean, is there like... I mean, maybe I should just like fuck myself all the time with like a dildo so I seem as if I'm like super sexually satisfied and like don't see. I just think I
I mean,
don't
not in
know.
public, though, because you'll
So
never get
you
a
are
boyfriend
doing
doing
the.
that.
So are you doing the thing? Come on, give it to me. Let's go. Let's go.
No,
Let's
no,
go. Let's
I
go.
haven't. I don't
Okay.
have sex with anyone. I mean,
Okay, but I mean, when you are,
Well, that's the thing about women is they can be horny but not have sex, which is a concept alien to men. But you know what I mean? Like, because women can only have an orgasm. Well, I can't. I'm not going to say it all the
What?
time. But women need to be kind of have an attraction for a man beyond the physical, right? Or I don't know what I'm talking
not
about.
necessarily.
I don't know.
But
Some women, I mean, that's the myth that men will just spread their seed around and they don't care, but women need to nest and all that stuff. And my shrink, who I've been seeing for almost 17 years now, says that that's bullshit. He said that men are more craving of intimacy than women are. That men, that's why men become stalkers murderous stalkers and stuff.
Do you
because
think I should
somebody's
become a murderous stalker?
No, but I just that people when a woman is
pay.
nice to a guy, they just latch on him and say that she's my girl.
Yeah, that's me, all right. I've certainly done that. But the beauty about me is I'll get over it just as fast. So there's no real danger.
Right.
You'll get some texts. You'll get some Facebook messages, perhaps. But I probably won't be
so
standing
sweet.
outside your door.
Right. But there are guys that don't have that switch, so they can't turn that rheostat down, the volume control down.
But see, I never get that except from losers. Losers all the time, and you're not a loser. And we've never, so I'm not talking about you, but losers want to, date me and tie me down or whatever the fuck you were just saying.
Oh,
that
they
you
become
do with women.
clingy.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
they just, but guys who, I have not had someone who was some great catch who was I'll date them for a couple of years and they'll, love being my boyfriend or something, but I've never had someone just be like, I cannot let this precious jewel of the Nile go. I need to lock this shit down.
Could it be that there's a definition bias that the only people that cling to you are people you're going to call losers?
Yeah.
It's the ones that don't do
define
that.
loser.
Like a dumb person?
That clings to you and
What do you mean
puts
by
you on a
dumb
pedestal.
person?
Person that's dumb.
Like a dummy?
Someone is dumb.
Like dumb in what sense? Like they are not educated, they're not well spoken, they don't
clingy.
have a good job. Like what?
I mean, just not someone who. I try to be really open. I mean, I really do. I try to not at all be. I mean,
Well, I have to say, in your writing, you're one of the most open people I've ever seen.
But I'm not really. I mean, you don't know anything.
Well,
but yeah, no,
you
I
give off
understand.
the
I
appearance
understand.
of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me say that.
Yeah, people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Okay.
all right. Well, if anyone thinks of anything,
Well, I will
let me know.
say,
Well,
as
it's tough
a fe-
all over. I mean, Kristin, had a whale of a time, right? Finding the right guy. But now she's got it.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I don't know, and maybe to Mandy this is considered selling out, but I have a very dominant personality as well. I mean, I think we have kind of similar personalities. But I have learned, maybe it was working.
so
in the
do you
comedy
now
side.
have a guy who's more like a sub? I'm not saying you
Oh, no,
dominatrix him. No, he's an alpha guy, right?
Yeah, he's an alpha
See, that's
guy.
what's hard is for an alpha girl to find an alpha guy.
Yeah.
But what
Who's
I'm
more, you
what
know
I'm
what I
saying
mean?
in the selling out is that I learned that I have to tone it down.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like
All right.
I've because I've worked with a lot of comedians and I've spoken with them or whatever, and I've had comedians say you're hilarious. We
Can
love
I just
you,
marry
but,
an old guy like Rich Voss? Can I just do that?
But like you
Okay.
don't, guys say we like hanging out with girls, but I don't want to date me. Like guys don't want to date a female version of themselves.
yeah.
Like they like that. It initially gets them interested.
Right.
But long term,
Because you're in there ball busting.
Yeah,
and
I'll
bashing
just
them.
exactly.
I'll
Like,
just
you
make my own
can't-
money, and then I'll just be with some sycophant who's
You're
like
not
a yes
gonna
man.
Want that though?
Well, whatever. I mean, if they're like good looking and funny, who cares?
But I think it's helped me. Like, I think it's better for me to not be I used to be constantly like ready to say something, like have my next comment.
But like
and,
but that's my essence is like being.
But
kind
it's
of
my
a-
essence too. But I just found like kind of another essence that I developed. That.
But
maybe
can
was
you imagine
underdeveloped
me
before.
making a living as like a writer and podcaster, just being like, well, so today's measured podcast
Yeah, but
Right.
can't you
about
No, but you
porcelain
could do
plates.
both.
Turn
You
it
could
off.
Do both.
Turn
Like,
it off for
do the
guys.
Yeah, when you
but
get
just
in the
in your life, like do
In my
your,
life.
your podcasting and your writing, and then go home and turn it off.
I mean, I
And
think
be
I
a
do.
person.
Well,
I
you're
think
telling
I do. I
you're
think I
telling
am.
Mandy to change her fundamental essences. As I believe that's how you phrased it, Dr. Steve.
Well, I mean,
I think I am that way. I think people who know me don't see me as being.
I think you got to be the best Mandy you can be, and
yes, and apply the golden rule, Mandy.
and
I think we have a lot of aspects to our personalities, and over the course of life, you find a certain aspect that works, and you over.
Can you
use
give me?
it.
Can you just give me an example
know?
of the old me with men would do X, but the new me, in order to be amenable to men and to have a great boyfriend, does Y? Can you give me an
Like
example?
the old me would break balls to the point of like being a guy's friend.
Sure.
Like
Right.
a guy.
Yeah.
The new me is like, I'll make a comment, but then the next time, in the next round of conversation, I'm like nice to him, which is not me not being myself. I mean, I'm a nice person. It's just that I have to kind of resist that urge to constantly.
I had no problem with the old Montella.
Do you have a problem with the new Montella?
I didn't
Except
really.
that I have a boyfriend.
I'm not so sure. I've noticed a tremendous difference
Well, you
between
may
old
not
and
have.
Montella.
Your
No, but
relationship with him
that's what I'm
probably
saying.
hasn't
It's
changed.
just in a relationship setting.
And that's not changing your
Because-
essence either, because
No.
a guy who busts balls can't go home and bust his girlfriend's or wife balls the way he busts balls with
Right.
his
That's
guy
true.
friends.
And you
That's a
can,
good
but
point.
to a certain extent.
To a
There's
extent.
like
Right,
you have
exactly.
to-
Like,
otherwise
whereas
you just-
you could just destroy your guy friend and just seek out to hurt his feelings and then laugh about it later.
Right.
Because it's
If you-
hilarious.
Right. But if
But
you
you
go
don't want to
home
do that to your
with your girlfriend or
significant
wife,
other.
Right.
it's the same.
So in the space of this podcast, say I was on a date with Dan. So the new me, if I was trying to date Dan, I would be like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that you have that phobia. That sounds really hard.
No.
But I think it's really
Yeah.
courageous that you are able to talk about it and you
Well,
come
let's
to
not go
terms with
overboard.
it.
Then I would say this girl's out of her mind. She's calling me
That
courageous.
sounded pretty good to me.
I would
It's like,
say
yeah.
let's split the difference and just say, yeah, that kind of sucks.
Oh.
Let's do some coke, something like that.
Whatever.
No, I don't.
Anyway.
Don't be fake. Like you don't want to be fake. It's just
Right.
kind of about.
Thank you
like-
for the advice. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any advice in there at all, but
No, there was advice. That was good. Kristen, thank you.
Kristen's advice. Yes,
Yeah, I would-
that was
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Dan's advice.
We got
not so
old
much.
Montella.
No, well,
and
my
new
advice
Montella.
was don't tell me I'm courageous. It's clearly not the case.
No, but I think Mandy is awesome, and if
I do too.
if something is keeping
I
her from
would-
not letting people see that awesomeness to the point where they want to hold on to it,
Incidentally-
then, like, that's a problem.
Kristen is not necessarily opposed to a same-sex experience. Is that
What
correct?
does that have to do with?
Well,
it?
I
It
don't
does
know.
now, Kristen. Okay.
You said that you
Wait,
think
are
she's-
you asking me to like eat Kristen out? Because I'm not going
All
to.
right, well.
Hold on. Let me just get the cameras going.
She has a boyfriend.
I still
I'm
wonder
sure he wouldn't
I'm
mind.
dead to her.
if Mandy is defining these guys as losers because they are
I'll show
exhibiting
you
a certain
okay,
behavior.
I have something to show you. I'm going to show you the
Okay.
guys who fucking poked me on Facebook. They're all like 82 years old.
It's
and they're
already
like,
loser.
The second you
Someone's
say
poking
poke.
you on
But
Facebook.
those aren't people you're
it's
having a
done.
relationship
when-
with.
No, but I'm saying like they're
That's ageism, as far as I'm concerned.
dude. The last guy I was really into was 21 years older than me.
Yeah, the 50-year-olds love you, by the way. I'm just saying. I don't know why.
So
What
What's
do
wrong with
what do I
that?
do when you jerk off to the idea of me? What do I do in the fantasy, Dr.
So
Steve?
anyway, let's talk about Obamacare.
He talks about Obama.
You guys are all self-employed, right?
No.
Except for Sam.
No.
I'm not.
You're not. Okay.
She's a student, I
I'm not
believe.
either.
I am a student.
She's like
also,
the
but I'm not.
Diane.
I have
Cham-
corporate insurance. I have Blue Cross.
You do?
I
Yeah.
have United.
Okay.
I'm in the freelancers
Okay,
union.
then. Okay, so Dan.
I'm in the freelancers union, so I pay monthly for it.
Okay, and how much are you paying?
$500.
A month?
Yes, sir.
And it does your insurance qualify under the new Affordable Care Act?
I'm not
you know?
sure. I don't know. I haven't investigated. I don't
Okay.
like paperwork, and
Adulthood.
I don't like adult. Actually, that's quite true. I
No
don't
men like
I
adulthood.
think that's
Kristen.
really courageous of you to share that with us, Dan.
Well,
Well, if I want to help
So
others
brave.
that have the same
What
problems,
if they
that's
could
why-
turn it
that's why
into
I'm
a PlayStation game where you sign up for healthcare? Would that be better?
Hashtag.
Well, that'd be a
paid.
step in the right direction.
I mean, I have a friend, and I thought more of you guys were going to be affected
If it
by
was a
this,
por-
but we can still talk about it. I have
well,
a friend.
I'm in healthcare, if that helps.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah. This friend of mine is self-employed, and he makes good money, and he just pays cash for everything.
I don't like going to the doctor because they ask me what I do for a living, and I say comedian. They say, "You make a living at that?"
Right.
It sounds
They-
like you
they-
could turn that into material.
And then they judge me, and then they. But anyway, go on. I'm
Right,
sorry,
right,
Dr. Steve, I've
right.
interrupted you.
No, it's okay. He pays cash for everything, and he couldn't get anybody to see him. He's got a kid who needed something, and he couldn't get any doctor to see his kid because he'd call up. They say, "What kind of insurance do you have?" And he'd say, "Well, I don't have any." And click.
Wow, that's rude.
And so he went to, or he came to me and asked me about it. I said, just go buy a catastrophic health insurance policy.
You notice Dr. Steve didn't treat him, though. He just told him where to go buy a policy.
He directed him where to go.
He was asking for something I didn't.
Well, I can't help you. You don't have insurance.
I mean, if you see me coming, you've got a real problem in hospice and palliative medicine.
What about euthanasia? How do you do any of that?
What the young Chinese people?
No, yeah.
I knew he was going to go for it.
Of course, because I'm a hack. I'm not a comic. Euthanasia for us is unethical. Now, there are states in this country where euthanasia is legal, but not where I come from.
Has anyone ever been fucked to death?
Booga booga. Right?
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
It's death by booga booga.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure it's happened.
Don't you know that joke about booga booga? Everybody knows that joke.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know it.
That's a joke where they say you can either have death or booga booga. And he said, the first guy says, I'll take booga booga, and then 10 guys fuck him in the ass. And the second guy says, I'll take death. And he goes, okay, death by booga booga. You don't know that joke? Everybody knows that joke.
I don't know that.
It's a fantastic joke.
Wait, I'm surprised but I would think they would want people that have no insurance and they're just going to pay cash.
Yes, you would think so, because really you crank up what you're billing.
Because you don't have to take the Medicare rates.
Because of Medicare, that's right. So if Medicare pays you $80, you charge $160, and all the cash-paying patients have to pay $160.
Right.
But they got to know you have the cash, because they can send you a bill, and most people get that bill, and they're like, fuck it, I ain't paying.
Right.
What if someone was bleeding to death on your doorstep, and all they had was, like, bartering some,
then you're required to treat them.
Bartering? Like, if you're bleeding to death, you have time to barter?
Yeah.
If you
I have this great boat. I have a canoe.
That's what I'm
I can give it to you if you help me.
Every other weekend, you'll have use.
Timeshare.
Right. If you take any federal money, i.e. Medicare, then you are required to give a certain amount of free care, and emergency care is considered that. You can't turn somebody away who has a legitimate emergency. So you have to treat them. But you can still bill them, and you bill them for it, but
Do you have to treat them just enough to not have an emergency, or just or all the way?
You got to stabilize them.
Just stabilize, and then they can leave then they can go.
Then you just dump them out right in the middle of the street.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if they would come to harm if you discharged them right then you got to keep them. So yeah, you got to treat them. But what the fuck was I talking about? I can't remember.
ObamaCare.
Oh yeah, ObamaCare.
And your friend having cash and nobody.
Yeah. So thank you. And he went and got I said, just go get a catastrophic insurance policy. And then when you call these places, they ask you what you've got. You say, I got Blue Cross. Even though he'll have to pay everything up to $5,000,
right.
And it worked. He got in.
That's actually really smart. That's good advice. Yeah.
Thank you. But it's not working out now because he got it and it was working for him. He just paid cash wherever he went, and he never went up to the $5,000. But if he got in a car wreck and ran up a $300,000 bill, they'll write off the $5,000 deductible. He would never have to pay it. Well, he got a letter from the healthcare administration saying, or from his insurance company saying that his catastrophic health insurance was no longer legal. It didn't qualify under the Affordable the Affordable Care Act.
Under Obama,
under the ObamaCare.
Yeah.
Because you can't just have catastrophic insurance. So they canceled his policy. He now has no insurance again. He went on the exchanges to get insurance, and it was 4 times more than what he's paying now.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Huh. That's interesting.
So it's
Are you a Republican?
No, I'm an independent.
Are you an anarchist?
I have, well...
Yes, the tie says anarchy all over it.
Right. I'll show you, this is a visual thing, but I'll just pass this along and I'll stick it, it's up on the web.
Is it a dick pic?
No, that's a picture of me in college. So at one time, I was indeed an anarchist, and if you'll notice, on that picture, I wasn't going, by God, smile for the man.
Yeah, that's a cool picture.
And on the back is the Viagra, plump.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking the same thing.
Are you in favor of a Canada single payer type system?
The doctor part of me is kind of in favor of that because I have 40
single payer. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Just and I understand the problems with that. I was going to move to Australia. Last year, I got offered a job. They're going to pay me a third more than I'm making now.
Oh, do it.
And well, I was going to until I ran the numbers, and they take out so much taxes that I was actually going to be making just a little bit more than half of what I'm making.
But
here.
I could crash at your place and come visit. So can you
beautiful
take that
place.
job?
It was right
Mandy
on the
would wake
coast.
up with a dingo throwing
It's
up
a radio
in her face
offer
instead of
or a
dog.
doctor offer?
That was a doctor offer. Yeah. So So yeah, there are problems with that, and all the people that are working for Blue Cross Blue Shield that would lose their jobs under something like that. I mean, there's a lot of ramifications for us making a huge shift like that. We should have done it years ago, but and
America's just not that kind of place. We just don't care about each other.
I have 40-year-old patients with cancer who lose everything because they lose their insurance, because they lost their job, because they were out for 6 weeks doing chemo, and now they lose their house and they lose their wife and they lose
all
everything.
they have to do is sell meth. I don't understand.
Right.
And at what point are people going to call out the insurance companies for all of this?
Well,
why do you think that they send a letter to your friend? Because they can bring them up to a much more expensive policy.
Well,
it's excuses like that.
But insurance companies are businesses. It's not their job their job is to make money,
right? Which
like
is
any
exactly
business.
why they shouldn't be involved in people's
All right, well, that's
life
another.
or death.
That's another. Then we have to be willing to make the decision to have the government do it. But if we're going to leave it to the private sector, we have to accept that the private sector is going to do what the private sector does, which is trying to make money for themselves. Otherwise, they're not going to do it.
And if you say you can't deny people for prior conditions, so what do people do? They wait till their heart disease gets so bad, and then they go ahead and sign up for insurance, and now it's a net deficit for the insurance company from day one. The way insurance is supposed to work is you have it, and then maybe you use it, and if you run a deficit, it's paid for by the other people who aren't using it.
Well, good. Fuck them. It serves them right, because that's what they do. As soon as you get sick enough, they drop you.
Well,
so fuck them.
So maybe just whenever anyone gets sick, like a cold, they should just all kill themselves. Like instead of like NyQuil or something.
Now you're being silly.
And it would cure the vomit.
Dr. Steve,
that's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Dr. Steve, I have dental insurance. I haven't been to the dentist. Are you ready for this? 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
God.
You and me both,
kidding
buddy.
me?
Sonicare.
I'm not kidding.
Why do you have dental insurance?
I happen to have it as part of my freelancers program. I guess I should go for a checkup, but my teeth don't hurt. I don't see any
stuff on them.
No, they don't. They look pretty good.
Yeah, you can get a Sonicare. It does the same shit.
It may well be that there's periodontal disease going on that I can't see, but I brush my teeth. I'm not seeing excessive bleeding or really any bleeding unless I brush very hard.
One of the funniest toothless comics out there, though.
Well, I'd have a hook file. Dr. Steve, I have a spot uptown. I don't know how.
Yes, of course.
No, but
we're going to wrap it up right now.
Okay. I don't want to. I don't want to. Whatever.
No,
it was really courageous of you to say that.
Thank you.
I wanted to say something, and I forgot what it was. I really want to thank everyone who came here tonight. I don't think we solved anything.
Yeah, we did. I learned a lot.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. Yeah. Thanks always go to Sam Roberts. You got anything to plug?
Yeah, notsam.com has all my videos and my podcast and everything.
Okay. And Dan Naturman, what do you got to plug?
I'm Dan Naturman at Dan Naturman. Quite honestly, nobody's looking at it anyway. But whatever. I'm just like I gotta plug. I gotta plug something. I guess
your spots.
You don't have to. How about your spots? You got something. This
will
be up
Twitter
next Tuesday.
Feed?
I'd like to thank Steve.
I'll have to bleep that out.
Oh, you don't reveal your last name?
I'm anonymous.
Oh, you're anonymous.
Yes,
Steve Anonymous.
Well, I have to be. My corporation would fire me if they knew what I was doing on this show sometimes.
I feel
but your voice is so distinct. How?
Yeah, but I have deniability. I can say that guy sounds like me, but it's not me.
That's Casey Kasem.
That's right. And I've even gone on Lewis's show and said my actual name was Neil, just to throw everybody off.
The top 10.
I said Dr. Neil doesn't sound good.
You
so
remind
I use
me
a
of
cousin.
Who's that guy who's friends with Elvis? Who's a famous DJ?
Cousin Brucey.
Yeah, you remind me of Cousin Brucey.
Oh, no.
Why don't you tell us before the show, don't say my last name?
Well, I didn't think it would ever come up. I didn't know you knew my last name.
Well, you're passing around your college ID, and it's an odd last name.
That's true. That's okay.
Oh.
Don't feel bad about it. Just beep it. Kristin, you got anything to plug?
No, I would like to remain as anonymous as possible, actually.
Okay. Mandy.
My name is Mandy Stadtmiller. And I hope everyone subscribes to my podcast, News Whore, on the RiotCast network, riotcast.com/newshore, owned by Rob next to me.
And XO Jane, too.
Yep.
Check her out. Very honest writing, seems to be. If it's not,
yeah, it's honest, sure.
Great interviews, too.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And Rob Sprance.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to plug Mandy because I'm dead to her, but go to riotcast.com.
Just sexually.
Check out my show, The Hole, on riotcast.com.
Oh.
With all the great shows. Boom.
All right. Many thanks to our listeners whose voicemail and topic ideas make this job very easy. Go to our website at drsteve.com for schedules and podcasts and other crap. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps, quit smoking, and get off your asses and get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine.
Comfortably numb.